everyone. Good evening and welcome to the 12 Beers of Christmas craft beer experience. My name is Brian.
And I'm Marty, and I'm the new co-host of the 12 Beers of Christmas. And then
I can't do this. I can't do this bit. I can't commit to this. I guess we'll start by me going at it alone, I think. And then we'll see what happens. So let's open Night 5's beer. I'm sure we got a wonderful beer in store for everyone. Let's go to Box Cam. Night 5. Been some great beers already. Throw up your favorite beer so far in the chat. Excited to see what people think. I did not cave to wearing the same thing comment. I'm just dejected and didn't get my jacket on. Oh, we have a wonderful IPA from Ebert out of Portland, Oregon. Oh, and we have a City Brew Tours bottle opener in there as well. Oh, I think I will use this to crack open my beer. Everybody knows you could use it for a bottle, but I will crack open this can topper here. Pen Quarter Porter all the way. People are loving that porter, loving the winter IPA. It's hard for me to pick a favorite. Really just depressed tonight, honestly. Julie bailing on me like that. I wasn't expecting it, but I guess we'll get this volatile substance poured and
Brian,
we'll go on.
Are
Cait?
you okay?
I mean, I'm not. I'll be honest. I could use a better co-host than Malty, for sure.
Do you want a little company?
I definitely do. Guys, everyone welcome Cait stepping out from the chat moderator's booth for the very first time to be my co-host tonight. You've given me new life, Cait. I'm going to put the jacket back on. Oh my God, and my shitty little shelf is going to fall off. The jacket's coming back on. The hat's coming off the wall. We're
He's
back,
a new man,
people.
ladies and gentlemen. We're back.
We're back.
Well,
All right.
I'm so thrilled to be here. I'm not quite a beer expert, but I am excited to learn and drink with you all. Cheers, everyone.
Well, cheers, Cait. Cheers, everyone at home. Thanks again for joining us this evening. Cait, I think there's something weird going on with your video. All I can see is you. I don't have the double view again. There it is. Maybe that's on me. Let me know in the chat if that is just on me or if you could see both of us at home. Probably just on me. But yeah, you got yourself a beer there, Cait.
I do indeed.
Get started. We should probably do some housekeeping first. Let the people know what's going on.
Yeah, guys. So as usual, keep all of your chat and banter in the chat section, and any questions, throw that in the Q&A portion. And make sure you change your chat settings to panelists and attendees so everyone can see what you have to say and not just us panelists, because that's boring.
Also, I believe we have a fill-in for Cait this evening, moderating the chat and helping us out with the Q&A. Everybody say hello to Barry, not the same person from last night.
Absolutely not the same person from last night, and absolutely not Santa.
Definitely not Santa. Definitely not Santa Claus.
Not.
Definitely not the same person from last night. And definitely not the same beer from last night. So, Cait, I believe you have yourself a wonderful IPA there as well.
Do.
Delicious. Cheers. Let's get into this. So I wanted to talk about styles tonight, IPA specifically. Maybe we'll get into hops and talk about how much they play a role in our beloved IPAs. Does that sound good?
Sounds fantastic.
Cool. Cait, so have you ever heard of the BJCP?
No, I have not.
Okay, cool.
What is
Probably not.
that?
It's a weird beer nerdy thing. It's called, it's known as the Beer Judge Certification Program, and they were founded in 1985, and what they do is certify judges to judge beer competitions. Currently, they have over 800 active national guides in the United States right now that will judge different beer competitions.
That's fascinating. I
That's
had
what
no
they do.
idea.
And those beer competitions is really where style guidelines grew out of in America. Like I said, they were founded in 1985, and another big governing body of style guidelines in America is the Great American Beer Festival, which also started in the 80s. You ever heard of the GABF, Cait?
Nope, I'm learning so much tonight.
Great, great. So the JBF is held every year in Denver. It's a massive beer festival that's focused on tasting weird and eclectic beers from America's 8,000 breweries. But there's also a huge competition portion of it. And to rather than having one best in show category, they break things up by styles.
That
And
makes
the
sense.
BJCP guidelines are put out every so often. We're currently working off of the 2015 guidelines that have approximately 34 different categories that amounts to 118 total different styles in there.
That is a lot of styles. I had no idea.
Yes. The GABF on the other side of the coin currently has 91 different categories. They also have subcategories in there, and they have a total of 170 different styles. Rob is asking in the chat, when and where is the competition? The competition is at the Denver Convention Center every year, I believe in the fall. I could be wrong. Correct me in the chat. Somebody might have better information than me. Somebody that lives in Colorado. I saw a couple people in there.
Looks like September.
Yes, in September. Thank you, Two
Yep.
Beagles. So 170 styles of beer as defined by the GABF, 118 total styles as defined by the BJCP. But can the chat tell us how many different kinds of beer there are in the world? Cait, do you have a question? Do you have a guess?
I do have a guess, but I think I know the right answer because of all of the trivia I've picked up working here at City Brew Tours. So I'm going to leave that to the chat.
Matt says 21 and then followed it up with 212. I thought he was going to follow that up with 2112 and make a Rush reference, but no. Todd Summers says 3.14. There are not pie. Clayton says 2. Somebody says 250, 500, 31 like Baskin Robbins. But Jason.
That'd be pretty great.
And who else had it? Jason and Clayton had it.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2. Jason kind of had it. He said good and bad. I guess that's kind of true. But no, we have our ales and we have lagers. And do you know the difference between the two?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do you want to know the difference between the two?
I would love to know the difference.
Awesome. So the difference is the temperature at which we like to ferment them. Ale yeasts, we like the flavors they produce when they're fermented at room temperature. Ales like the temperatures that we do. 68, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius for all you Celsius people out there. And then our lagers are going to like cooler temperatures, what we call cellar temperatures, around 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius for all our Celsius people. And that really is going to drive what defines that beer as whether it's an ale or a lager. And then every one of those styles fits under either an ale or a lager.
Brian, what are we drinking? What is this?
So this specifically is Von Ebert's Volatile Substance, a wonderful Northwest IPA brewed with Simcoe and Mosaic hops. But for the purposes of your question, I think you're asking, this is what we would call an American IPA. The largest entered category and most competitive category of both the BJCP guidelines and the GIBF.
Wow.
It is the definitive style of craft beer in America. So, and one of the things I think the BJCP does so well is defining these beers in their little snippets, which I think they call like style at a glance or an overview of the style. And this is what they have to say about the American IPA. Let me grab my handy note card here. So it is a decidedly hoppy and bitter, moderately strong American pale ale, showcasing modern American or New World hop varieties. Just in that one sentence, you get a very good idea of what your American IPAs should be. They elaborate. The balance is hop forward with a clean fermentation profile, dryish finish, and clean supporting malt, allowing a creative range of hop character to shine through. So you notice kind of a constant in there that they're talking about that really defines this style.
I'm going to go with hops.
Correct. Ding, 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 ding. I want to address Z-Man in the chat. What makes a beer a Northwest style beer? This is a question we get a lot with Northwest IPAs, New England IPAs, West Coast IPAs, and all these different regional styles of IPAs. A Northwest IPA is very similar to a West Coast IPA. It's going to use those hops that come from the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be very dry and resinous and bring out a lot of that character through that dry finish of the beer, allowing those hops to really shine. Whereas a New England IPA or an East Coast IPA or a hazy IPA is going to be much more full-bodied, and it's going to have a softer mouthfeel. And the hops are still going to shine, but in a different way. Creamy, aromatic, juicy, some would say. So Cait, go ahead.
I was going to say there are so many different kinds of IPAs. Why are IPAs so popular? You mentioned earlier that it's the definitive style of craft beer in America right now, and it has been for a while.
Mm-hmm. I honestly don't know. People have always loved American IPA since it's really it's huge growth in the 90s with beers like Stone IPA and Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, Oscar Blues, Dale's Pale Ale. People have loved IPAs, and I think on a base level, it's the antithesis of classic American lager. It's bitter, it's assertive, it's in your face, it's aromatic, it's not plain. It doesn't taste like classic beer.
Right.
So it's a little bit of the buck of the trend. Everybody else is drinking these light American lagers that are kind of bland. We're going to drink this thing that is punchy and bitter and in your face. So that's kind of what I think. Also, it's very, very, very versatile. Like you mentioned, there's so many different types of IPAs. There's Northwest IPA, West Coast IPA, New England IPA. There's black IPAs. There's British IPAs. There's all different kinds, and there's an IPA for everyone.
Right. I think John in the chat has a really good comment that there's always something new and there's lots to explore. So keeps things interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
So very good question from Cody in the Q&A. That's why I paused there trying to read up there. I'm still getting my Zoom hosting skills down. But Cody asked, why do we not see too many IPLs? Do you know what an IPL is, Cait?
I'm guessing the L stands for lager.
Correct.
Is that correct?
You nailed it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an India Pale Lager. It's a beer that's brewed almost entirely like a lager, but will have a more hopped up, pun intended, hop character to it. So it'll be a little bit more bitter, it'll have a little bit more aromatics. And the main reason why we don't see more IPLs is simply because of what I said the difference between IPA or ales and lagers is. Lagers ferment colder. And just like any other biological reaction, at colder temperatures, it will take longer. So lagers take much longer to ferment and then go through a process known as lagering. And lagering is a fancy German word that means for keeping or to store. Yeah. So that's why our lagers are pretty crystal clear. They're pretty crisp. They're clean. They're very well refined.
Okay.
Because they get lagered for up to 8 weeks after they're done fermenting. So not only do they take long to ferment, but we're going to keep them and hold on to them for longer after that. It's taking up tank time. It's taking up space in the brewery. And really, it's costing them money. That's other beers that they could get in there and turn out quicker.
That's fascinating. So it takes them longer to make a lager than an IPA. Yeah. Hence, maybe why IPAs are a little more popular too. Easier to churn those bad boys out.
Definitely. Have you ever heard of Quebec?
No.
Has anybody in the chat heard of Quebec? Two Beagles says yes. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. It is yeast, as Two Beagles refer to, is a Norwegian type of yeast. And it has allowed brewers to turn, Quebec is in Canada, Todd Summer says.
Thanks,
no,
Todd.
It is Quebec or Quebec. Correct. I don't know how to say it. It's a Norwegian word. It's spelled Kviek. And it's a yeast that will finish fermentation in 48 hours, allowing brewers to turn around beers in under a week.
That's insane.
So not only do they not want to wait for the lagers, they don't want to wait for the ales anymore. And they're turning these beers out in under a week and freeing up their tanks so they can make new and more interesting beer. So that's why we don't see as many IPLs, and so much to the point that people aren't waiting for regular ales anymore either. No patience.
No.
Cool. So, you mentioned that the constant thread that you're seeing in this IPA style guideline is
Hops.
the hops.
Right.
I heard that Bad Santa paid your house a visit. I see your Christmas tree. Could you maybe look under your Christmas tree for a small package? And while Cait is doing that, I have my hops here. I'm going to talk really quick. Kevin asked, can you tell us more about this brewery? Von Ebert is a wonderful brewery in Oregon. They have 2 locations, I believe, in Oregon. Currently, they have won numerous medals at the GABF for both their IPAs. They won a gold medal this year, I believe, for one of their IPAs. They're also very well regarded for their wild ale program. They brew a lot of funky and sour beers and do exceptionally well saisons. They also have really, really good food at their Glendovere location. Tom, I know Tom has been in here. Tom, if you're in the chat, correct me and tell me if that's the wrong. Yes, Todd is in the chat. He has been there. Glendovere has wonderful food, great beer selection. When the world gets put back together, travel to Portland, Oregon, check out Von Ebert. They brew awesome beers, lagers, IPAs, saisons, sours, all kinds of different stuff. Definitely worth a stop if you're in Portland. And they're right around from Deschutes, so you can go hit the big boys that everybody knows about and then go to Von Ebert and have a wonderful volatile substance. Cait, did you find a package under your tree?
I did. I think Santa brought me rabbit food. It's kind of like pellety things. Looks like.
I cannot confirm that isn't rabbit food.
Santa.
But for the purpose of this discussion, I think it'll work.
Okay.
I have hops here, and I think it looks very similar to the hops that I have in my hands here. So these are what we call Peloton.
Yes.
See, look, yeah, you got it. I'm pretty sure those aren't rabbit food.
That's too kind of Santa.
I wouldn't risk eating it, though. These are very, very bitter because the main role of hops in beer is to balance out the malty sweetness. We had a wonderful discussion with our friend Barry, different from the Barry that's moderating the chat tonight, yesterday about malt and the role that malt plays in beer, adding sweetness and these roasty, caramely flavors. But we need something to balance that out. Just like any food we're going to make, any cocktail we're going to make at a bar, we need balance. And the hops balance out that malty sweetness. So if you ate one of these hops, all you'd get is bitterness.
Gotcha.
Not very tasty.
And in this beer, we have Simcoe hops and Mosaic hops. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
There are a lot of different kinds of hops, though, right?
There are so many different kinds of hops. Yeah, not just Mosaic and Simcoe. And I have some Centennial here.
I've got Magnum pellet hops, American. Use bittering, aroma, spicy, fruity, good stuff.
Good. That's a good description. Did you come up with that on your own?
Absolutely.
Great. You're an expert already. I knew you've already learned so much. Great. So one thing I want you to do, get a couple of those pellets in your hand.
Okay.
And if anybody happens to have hops laying around that doesn't already very familiar with them, grab some hops, take them in your hands like this. And what you want to do is really rub those around in your palms. And what's going to happen is you're going to start to feel this stickiness, this kind of resiny quality that comes onto your hands. I'm just going to make a mess on my desk here. And you kind of get this powder that makes a stickiness on your hands. And that stickiness is actually, look, there you go. It's from a gland in the hop known as the lupulin gland. And lupulin is where we get all our goodies from. I saw your face light up. You know that word. You've seen that on a beer can.
Of course.
Yeah. Andrew in the chat, lupulin. Steve T says, good weed does the same thing. If you didn't know, cannabis and hops are actually biological cousins. They're the two closely related two most closely related species to each other. That's why a lot of the same flavors come from hops that comes from cannabis. So I hear. It's illegal still in my state here of Pennsylvania. So that lupulin is where all our bitterness is going to come from. It's also where all our aromatics and flavors and the things that we love that make hops what they are. All that character of pininess, of berry that you get in this beer.
Okay.
A little bit of citrus that's on the back end. That's all coming from the hops. And one of the reasons there are so many different varieties of hops is so that brewers can do all those different things with specialized hops. So if they need a hop just to bitter the beer, like that porter we had last night, they just want to add a little bit of bitterness, balance things out. They have certain hops that will do that without adding a ton of flavor. But if you want to brew an IPA like this, you grab your old friends Mosaic and Simcoe and you throw them in there as much as you can, and you'll get these wonderful, stunning aromatics out of it. You'll get these depth of flavors, especially when they're using multiple hops. And we've been using hops for so long in beer now that we know which hops will complement each other and will create new flavors when paired together. So hops know how to use these, or brewers know how to use these different hops as almost different spices in their baking cabinet.
So is there like a range of hops, or some more bitter, some less bitter, and you just find the best recipe to make your beer, and that's how it all works?
Pretty much.
That's awesome.
Pretty much. Yeah. There's something, there's all kinds of different chemicals and organic compounds in hops, but the main one we're focused on with judging the range of hops is something called alpha acids. And those are measured as a percentage of the total hop weight. Wow. So that could go from 3% for your really lower bitter hops all the way up to over 20 for your big, strong bittering hops. And the point of those is as those hops get stronger, the less of them you have to add to the beer to get the bitterness you want.
Okay.
So less crap in the kettle, sucking up more beer and taking that beer away from your finished product is going to make a lot of brewers more happy.
Okay, I see. Brian, do you have a favorite hops?
I literally was just about to ask that. I mentioned last night my daughter is also named Anonymous. So I love when Anonymous asks questions. You're my favorite guest that we get here, Anonymous. I don't know if I have a favorite hop. As a brewer, I love El Dorado. El Dorado is a hop that you could use for bittering. You could use it for flavor. You could use it for wonderful aromatics. It's pretty cheap. I see a lot of people throwing up Citra, Amarillo, Mosaic. Those hops are pretty expensive.
Mosaic. Oh, really?
Yes. They're good and people love them. So therefore everybody wants them, and they're more expensive,
popular,
and more sad.
More expensive. That makes sense. Gotcha.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned Citra in there. Citra is the most grown hop in the United States. And that is entirely because this revolution around the juicy IPAs, and no hop offers that juicy, citrusy flavor to the beer better than Citra. So Clayton throwing out Idaho 7, El Dorado, and Galaxy. I believe I gave Clayton, if this is the Clayton I'm thinking of, I believe I gave Clayton a recipe with those hops in it. Possibly.
You inspired him, Brian.
Possibly. Noble hops all the way from Chad. Going with the classic. If you didn't know, noble hops come from Germany. Most of the hops we've been talking about tonight, Cait, come from America. The Pacific Northwest specifically. Idaho, Oregon, Washington.
That makes sense.
Noble hops, though, are, dare I say, the original hops? I think hops originated out of Japan, but somebody that's smarter than me, please don't correct me. Noble hops come from Germany, and that's what we get in our classic lagers, pilsners, Bock beers, and have fancy name like Hallertau and Mittelflue and a bunch of other stuff that I don't want to pronounce because I don't want my one German friend to criticize me.
Are you sure you don't want to try for us, Brian? I think the chat.
Okay, one more. Herzbrucker.
Beautiful. Nailed it. I don't know German.
Awesome. So another question from the Q&A, choosing hops, availability, and contracts would be a good topic to tackle. So where is this? Okay. Is there a hop shortage in the United States? I guess is what this is kind of referring to. Barry, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. No, there isn't a hop shortage right now. Most brewers work on what's called hop contracts, where they will buy a certain amount of hops for the upcoming year. Most brewers have probably already purchased their 2021 contracts and know which hops they're getting in large quantities throughout 2021. All the hops that aren't sold on contract are sold in something called spot buying or the spot market, where they literally go on to like eBay for hops and see who has the best spot price on a pound of Citra or on 44 pounds of Citra. So, no, there isn't a hop shortage right now because production ramped up over the past couple years. There is a big famous story that happened in 2010 or 2015. Somebody can correct me in the chat. I am sure maybe Andrew that's in there knows this one. But there's a huge hop shortage, and Sam Adams actually sold a bunch of their contracted hops. Andrew does not know. Maybe Barry knows. But there was a big hop shortage, and Sam Adams, one of our wonderful partners in Boston, sold a ton of their hops to smaller local brewers so that they could make ends meet and brew their beer during that shortage.
That's insane.
It is. They're good people. Most brewers are good people. Cool. Barry, was that the question you're referring to? You can speak and please correct me. Is he there?
Can you hear me, Brian?
Hey,
Yes,
Barry.
I can.
Yes, that was the question I was referring to.
Wonderful. Cool. So I want to tackle Jason. Is there any difference in the European hops and US hops? Yes. Hops are what we call, they are a product that has terroir to them. Have you ever heard that fancy term, Cait?
No, terroir.
Are you a wine drinker?
I do enjoy wine. Yes, indeed.
So terroir is what they describe as the natural influence of an environment, of a microclimate on a organic product, be it grapes, barley, or hops. So wherever the hops are grown, different characteristics will be imparted into those hops depending on where they are grown.
Okay.
So hops in Germany, you could take Cascade or Magnum that's grown in Germany and compare it to Cascade or Magnum that's grown here in the Pacific Northwest or grown over that's west that way in the Pacific Northwest, and they'll be completely different. They'll have different notes. They'll have different alpha acid levels. They'll have different organic compounds.
I mean, that makes sense. Different soil, different air quality, all the water that they use. That's very cool.
And even more so, hops grown in the Pacific Northwest compared to Michigan, compared to here in Pennsylvania, compared to down in Florida or in Texas are also going to have minor differences to them as well.
Z-Man says it's too hot in Illinois to grow hops. Come on, Brian.
There are.
Oh, this is so cool.
That will grow.
Did you know that Cornell University has the largest hop breeding program in the world? And they struggle to replicate from region to region without the soil.
Oh, so they actually have to like go out and send someone around the world to like grab a little cup full of soil. Well, probably not a cup. Probably grow
just
more
a cup. That's all you need.
Just a cup. Yeah, it's just a guy in a lab coat walking through the airport with a cup. Yeah. He has a Wawa cup with a lid on it, and it's got soil in it.
I don't know if that would get through customs, though. Don't they say organic material like that is a no-no? I'm sure they find a way.
All right. I'm going to take one more question from the chat before we wrap up. But Cait, do you have any last questions for me?
Let's see. We covered different kinds of IPAs. We've covered hops. We've covered our favorite hops. I think I have had all of my questions answered this evening. I've learned so much. Thank you for having me, Brian.
I love that. I love that I could have answered all your questions. Somebody referenced Sheets in there. I am in Sheets territory, Stephen, but I do like a Wawa as well.
Stephen, I grew up in Maryland and I'm a Sheets person all the way. So
Shots fired at the SEPA people and the NEPA people in the chat there. And everybody that doesn't know what SEPA and NEPA is, cool, come to Pennsylvania. All right. So one more question I want to answer is Z-Man's from the Q&A. When brewing, I prefer whole flower hops as opposed to pellets. What are your thoughts? Cait, what do you prefer when you're brewing?
well, actually, I did brew this week. I
You
brewed on
did?
Sunday. I took the City Brew Tours brewing class, home brewing class. It's a lot of fun, guys. If you've never brewed before, I think this is a great way to jump into things. So I've only brewed with pellet hops, and
Which
it was
beer did you brew?
great. I did the amber ale recipe.
Ooh.
And actually, Clayton in the chat there was my teacher, and he was awesome. We had a great time.
Well, I've referenced Clayton a couple times. Let's give a shout out to Clayton. Clayton also lives here in Pittsburgh. Shout out Clayton. He's a good home brewer too. But some people prefer whole flour. Some people prefer pellets. I like pellets because it's less crap in my kettle and less crap that's going to suck up the liquid of the beer and leave me with less beer to drink when I'm done brewing. But some people swear by the flavor and especially the aromatics imparted by whole flower hops. Big breweries such as Sierra Nevada and Victory Sierra Nevada and Trogue still use whole flower hops in every beer that they brew. When I went to Sierra Nevada in North Carolina, they took us into the hop cooler and had these gigantic, like 100-pound bales of whole flower hops and let us just go in and pull these whole flower hops out of this giant bale. So I may prefer pellets, and most of the brewing industry may prefer pellets. But in my opinion, the greatest American brewery of all time still uses whole flower hops in every one of their beers. So you might be right, Z-Man. Bob Z says, shout out to Dancing Gnome. I'm actually using a Dancing Gnome glass. What's up, Pittsburgh? Well, thanks everybody for joining us again tonight. Cait, do you have some information on the blog?
Absolutely. So tonight on our blog, we are posting an infographic about hop use and harvest in the United States that was put together by our graphic wizard, Alicia. So definitely check that out tonight. I believe it's live already. Could be. We'll be live soon if not. So that'll have some great info for you guys about hops.
Awesome. And yeah, check out that blog. It is live. I can't confirm that. And join us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. Same time. We're Cait.
We've got. Absolutely. I would love to come back. I'm honored.
Yes. That multi guy is kind of a jerk. I don't want to deal with him again. So we have an awesome guest tomorrow. I'm super excited about our guest. Maybe somebody else that works in the brewing industry.
Maybe Santa.
I hope not. I
hope not too. We love you, Barry. Who's not
Throw it
Santa.
in the chat. Would you rather have Santa or Multi come back? But yeah, thanks for jumping on and helping me out tonight, Cait.
Of course.
Couldn't have done it without you.
Glad to be here.
I'm so happy. I hope you learned something. Everybody at home.
Whoops.
I don't know what I just did.
You're sharing your screen. You have a very nice screen. It's very organized. Good job, Brian.
I'm very proud of my screen organization, but I was trying to do this so I can do this and play us out. And everybody have a wonderful evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.